The Static Man. It started with the static. Nina always fell asleep with the soft hum of the TV in the background, a habit she picked up as a child when silence felt too heavy. The glow of the screen was comforting, a small light in the darkness of her tiny apartment. But one night, something was off. The signal cut out. A sharp burst of static filled the room, loud enough to jolt her from sleep. The TV screen flickered, lines distorting the image before dissolving into white noise. She groggily reached for the remote, fumbling in the dark. But before she could press the power button, she heard something that made her fingers freeze over the plastic. A voice. Not clear words, just a whisper hidden within the static. She turned the volume down. The whisper didn't stop. Her stomach tightened. She sat up, rubbing her eyes, trying to shake the lingering haze of sleep. Maybe it was just a dream, her half-asleep brain playing tricks on her. But then she noticed something else. The static wasn't coming from the TV anymore. It was coming from the other side of the room. Her old radio, the one she hadn't touched in years, was on. The red light flickered faintly. The knob turned all the way up. She hadn't touched it. Nina hesitated before getting up, a chill creeping down her spine. The air felt thick, suffocating, like the atmosphere before a storm. She took slow steps toward the radio. The whispering got louder. She reached out, fingers trembling, and turned the knob. The radio clicked off. Silence. But the air still felt wrong. She let out a shaky breath and turned back toward her bed. But as soon as she did, the TV turned back on. The screen wasn't static anymore. It was a dark, grainy image of a room just like hers. Her pulse spiked. She stared at the screen, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. The furniture, the window, the bed, everything matched her room exactly. But the strangest part? Someone was standing in the middle of it, a tall, shadowy figure. Her breath caught in her throat. She spun around, eyes scanning the room. But she was alone. When she looked back at the TV, the figure had moved closer. Her hands shook as she grabbed the remote and pressed the power button. Nothing. She tried again. The TV wouldn't turn off. The figure took another step forward. The screen glitched, distorting into harsh pixels. A deep hum vibrated through the room, low and unnatural, like the TV was struggling to hold its image. Then, the figure's head twitched, and it looked at her. A sharp ringing filled her ears, a high-pitched whine that made her clap her hands over her head. The TV screen spasmed, static crackling violently. Then, darkness. The TV shut off. Nina stood frozen, breath shallow. Her heart pounded so loudly she could hear it in her ears. Her phone. She needed her phone. She grabbed it from the nightstand, hands unsteady as she tapped the screen. But as soon as it lit up, her stomach dropped. Her reflection wasn't alone. Behind her, just over her shoulder, was a woman's face. Blurry, shadowed, but unmistakably there, watching. She turned so fast she nearly lost her balance. Nothing. The room was empty, but something was wrong. She felt it. A pressure in the air. A presence. Like something was still here. Her phone buzzed in her hands, nearly making her drop it. An unknown number. She hesitated before answering. Her voice came out hoarse. "Hello?" Silence. And then the static returned, loud, overpowering, drowning out her breath, her thoughts. Then a voice, soft, faint, but unmistakable.
"Let me in."
Nina's grip tightened on the phone. Her hands were slick with sweat. The voice came again, clearer this time.
"Let me in, Nina."
Her stomach turned. The voice was wrong, distorted, like multiple people speaking at once. She pressed the phone against her ear, whispering, "Who is this?" A pause. Then something that made her blood run cold. A sound, a creaking sound, like a door slowly opening. Her front door. Nina's body locked up. She was certain she had locked it. She was sure. She turned, heart pounding, and stared toward the front of her apartment. The door was open, just a crack. The hallway outside was pitch black. Her breath hitched as the whisper came again, this time right behind her ear.
I'm already inside.
The lights flickered. The static roared back to life. The last thing Nina saw was the TV screen turning on again. A live feed of herself, standing in her room, and behind her, the static man.